Hello and welcome back to my channel. In today's episode, I just wanted to add a few points on adding the headers and the data reference point uh, because we have not seen into the data headers and the data point reference section in our previous. So I thought of actually adding that section as well to the list of videos that we have already created. So in this session, we will try to understand what data headers are, what headers and data points are, and we'll try to add the heading and the data point reference section to enhance our report. Okay. So how that will be done is first, as you can see, the point here is that we have a blank value, no headers there, completely blank header here. Okay. And this will then be actually moved into something like this as a header, as can be seen here. Okay, so this is where we will actually work upon in today's session. Now, how the headers are shown, if you see this section, this part comes from the header section, and the other part, this part is called the data points. So we can create one or multiple data points that we can actually add. And as you can see, this comes along with the complete header section. It is attached to a header section which we can pin or we can enhance, expand or collapse it. Okay. We'll try to look into this, how we will be doing it. Okay. Now, the header is shown at the very first thing, so it's always a recommended approach to always show the key fields here, so that this will be unique to each record. Okay, and data points can also show. So in this case, I am showing from and to as a data point because each airline will have its own path that we can actually define here. Maybe you can show the flight time or distance, whatever you feel. Okay, I have taken from and to as my data points to be shown here, that can be displayed as a header section to the end user. Okay, how we are going to do it? Again, very pretty easy. Let's see how we can do that. Now, adding the header section means we have to actually go and add it to our header info, as can be seen here, and it has got two more properties called title and descriptions. Okay, so what it will do is it will allow you to define the title, the type of the title, and what value you are going to display there. And this is nothing but our instance, entity instance field name that we have to connect. Similarly, for description also, what is the value that you want to show? I want to show the connection ID as well there. Okay. Similarly, now the data points are actually shown as a different facet. Okay. If you see this section, if this section will actually show you how you can define the facet for the data point reference. The type will not be standard. The type will not be the line item reference or identification reference, but it will be of type data point reference. Okay, and the purpose will be header. That is also very important to remember. Purpose should be header now. Okay. Similarly, the fields that you want to display in the data point reference should be ideally marked with a UI.DataPoint annotation, as can be seen here. Now the important point to remember is that you have to link this with the same qualifier that you have defined as a data point reference. Then only it will work. Okay. So it is again very pretty easy. You just define the annotation UI dot data point with the qualifier of the facet that you have created as a data point reference, and that will actually connect the facet area to the value that we are going to display. And in this case, airport from will be displayed in our qualifier area, qualifier airport from qualifier area. And you can also give the title or a label to that particular data point. Label will be actually done using the title object here. Okay. So let us now see how we can implement in the system. Okay. Before that, I would like to just request you to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. This will give me more flexibility to actually create more videos in future. So with that, let us get into the system and see what we have built so far. Okay. So as we have seen, we have actually created a read application with a service binding that has the connection and the flight already, which we can see the data like this. So we go here, we see the data. Okay. We have just given the data here. When we go and click on any of the values, the connection details will be shown here, as well as the flight details will be shown. Now there is no header section we have defined yet. So let us get into the system and see what we can do to actually display this header and the data point reference. Now I am doing it for the connection object page. Similarly, it can be done for the flight object page as well. And this again, I will keep it for you to practice and just make that proper header there. Okay, let's jump into this system now and see where we have to do the changes. Now we know that, okay, connection is our entity that we have already defined in our data definition as connection. Okay, we have not gone and defined a metadata extension that we'll see in our next series. Okay, we have just gone and actually added the header info there, where this will be the initial page. This connection and the connections, as you can see, is displayed in our initial page here, this section that you can see here, right? This is because of the type name that we are showing here. Now, if we have to display the header section in our object page for this particular entity, we have to go and, as we have seen, we have to define the title and the description there. So let us see what we have there. Title. Okay. Oh, first we have to give a comma here because it's another property. And I'm just saying, okay, title. Shift enter is something that I will do, and it will give me all the properties that we can define. Now, as we have seen, the type should not be standard, but the type should be standard, okay. But here we will say what is the target element and the label for that. Okay, label anyway is not needed. So we will say, okay, type is equal to standard, and we will only take the value there. Okay, that is what we need. So what is our value? I am saying, okay, please display the carrier. Shift and control space to get the value help. I am saying, okay, please display the carrier ID or carrier name. Okay. And similarly, that's it. I think I don't need anything else here. Similarly, I also want to display the description part here. Again, shift enter, that will give me the same thing. Type will be standard and value that I will be displaying would be the connection ID. Okay, that's it. So this is what we have defined for the UI header. Let us see what is the implication of this change that we have done for our uh, entity. Okay, connection entity that we have done. Let me come back to our uh, application, refresh it. Let us see what is the change that we are getting with that. Let me get the data and let me now go to AAA and 17. You see, it has now shown me American Airlines and the 17 ID. Similarly, let me go to this one, Air Italia 789. It is showing me that. Now, this can be again, as I was telling you, this can be expanded or collapsed. You can pin it also. If you pin it, then uh, it will be staying there. I don't know why, but yeah, pin the header is something that you can do there as well. Okay, still nothing is happening. Okay, now let us go and now try to add the departure uh, from and the departure to the destination, departure airport and destination airport as our uh, block of data point reference. Okay, same thing that we have to do. We have to define one facet here. So let me copy this and create a facet. Okay, now the facet will have, I will say, okay, this is nothing but a data point for airport from. Okay, ID. Now the purpose that we are having here should be on the header side that we have seen. Okay, the purpose is header, position is 10, the label is airport from or airport from. Okay, now this type will not be identification reference, but it should be data point reference. And with the data point reference, you always have to define a qualifier, a target qualifier. Okay, and this can be any name. I am saying, okay, target qualifier will be my target qualifier for airport from. Okay, this is the target qualifier that I have defined. Now, since I have defined it as a data point reference, the next step is to add a field to this data point reference, and that field we are actually putting airport from there. So let us go to airport from. Okay, and where is our airport from? Yes, here, the airport from ID, and then you have to say, okay, UI dot data point. Okay, and it will, again, if you give shift enter, it will give you so many things. Now the only important part that we have to understand here is the qualifier, because that is what we have defined the qualifier. The qualifier is the airport from. Okay, and then title is something that I have to give. The title is nothing but the label for it, and the title is airport from. Okay, and then everything else is not needed. I'm just showing you that because it has got many other things that we can actually go and add to. So this is what is needed for us, the target qualifier and the title. Title means the label to for that particular data point. Let us activate and now see what we have done so far. So what we have done so far is, first thing is we have just defined the facet, and the facet has got airport an ID for it. The purpose is nothing but our header. Okay, and we have defined a type as data point reference with a target qualifier. Going down, we have just added the airport from ID as a, a data point reference. Okay, and this data point reference is now added using the qualifier that we have defined and with a title which is nothing but the label for that particular qualifier. Okay, and the airport from ID will be linked. Let us now try to activate and see what are the changes with this, what will be the impact on our application. Let us go and refresh our application again, get the data and try to see, and you see airport from is now has now been shown there. Okay, similarly quickly we will try to actually do it for the second one also. Pretty easy again, just we need the same facet again here. Okay, as another facet, and this will be airport 2. ID should be different. Then here the label is airport 2. Even if you don't give the label here, doesn't matter. Now this will be the second reference point. Okay, and the target qualifier will be different. In this case it will be 2, TQ airport 2. Similarly, let us go and add the same UI line item for our airport 2. The annotation is UI.dataPoint with our value as first thing what we need is our qualifier, and the qualifier is nothing but our TQ target qualifier airport 2. I have actually taken qualifier airport 2, if that makes sense. Yes, airport 2 is the qualifier. It should be exactly the same there, and then a title which is nothing but the label for it, and I am saying airport 2, or I'll say okay, destination, and here I will say starting, what I will say, not arrival, it will be starting from. Okay, and destination is this airport 2. Quickly activate and just come here and refresh our application, and this should, oh, ideally we should go back, refresh our application and just go back and take any of the values, and now you see the starting from is shown with a destination now. One more thing is that you see the starting from and departure and destination. Okay, so I should actually make it departure is actually repeated here. So a better idea is that we should not show these two things. Similarly, you see flight ID and the connection ID is already shown on the top. So the data is getting repeated. Pretty easy to do that. Just remove our carrier ID. Okay, the carrier ID, we don't need it in our identification. So just comment it out. We don't need that carrier ID. Where is my carrier ID? Yeah, this one. So I don't need my carrier ID in identification. I don't need my connection ID. I don't need my airport from in my object page. Similarly, I don't need the departure airport from ID and airport to ID. Okay. Now let us quickly go and also for the airport from ID we will say what was that? name departure airport. So we'll say departure and we will say destination for the second one. And that's it. Pretty easy to make it, but it really gives a very informational header to our application. And it makes the life easier for the end user as well. So if you see, now we have a proper complete details of the connection. So we have the connection ID and the flight name with the connection ID number from departing from Venice to Narita International Airport. The departure time is 1:25 and the arrival is 10:13 a.m. and the total distance is so and with the flight details as well. So this will make our application quite presentable. Okay, so that was all. With this, I will keep this value for you to actually go and decide whatever you want to display here with any of the data point reference. With that, thank you and happy learning.